الرحيم رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقه قولي سبحانك لا علم لنا إلا ما علمتنا اللهم علمنا ما ينفعنا وزدنا علما اللهم اجعل أعمالنا خالصة لوجهك ولا تجعل فيها حظا لغيرك آمين يا رب العالمين. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. How's everyone doing today? Alhamdulillah. Good to be back. Alhamdulillah, good to see everyone here again. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala accept our efforts of coming out and may we have a good year ahead. Ameen Ya Rabbal Alameen. We should to start off once again with thanking Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, or reminding ourselves of the favors that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has bestowed upon us, allowing us to have woken up this morning. This is a favor from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, allowing us to have a roof over our heads. Subhanallah, in this time of the wind and the rain and so on and so forth, most of us weren't affected by it at all. There were so many people outside that had to go through difficulties, and because the favor has been so constant, you don't remember, or you don't remind yourself to be a favor. So very importantly, we thank Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for allowing us to have that roof over our heads and that comfort, having warm blankets, having our families with us intact. We thank Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for being able to see, being able to hear, being able to speak. The heart that beats without our permission. Imagine the heart beats for approximately 70 times a minute. Imagine you were responsible for your heart beating, and you forget that your heart's supposed to beat. So you forget, so the heart stops beating, and then you get a shock because you get like a heart attack, and you get reminded that your heart's supposed to beat, so you allow your heart to beat again. Rather, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has taken that responsibility so you can use the limbs for a better purpose, inshallah. We thank Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for the gift of Iman that He has granted us, and the gift of Islam. And that's again, we say the beautiful dua when we wake up in the morning, Alhamdulillah, all praise is due to the one, Alladhi ahyana. All praise is due to the one that has granted us life. Ba'dama amatana, after taking us away, sleep is known as the minor death. Wa ilayhi nushur, and to Him, to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, is our return, and may our return to Him be a good and a beautiful one. Ameen Ya Rabbal Alameen. Khair. So before we start, we continue with Surah Yusuf. There's just some nasiha and some advices I would like to share with the class, inshallah, and hopefully should we implement this, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala facilitates a better journey with the Holy Quran. Ameen Ya Rabbal Alameen. And today my discussion is keys to unlocking the heart. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the Holy Quran, أَفَلَا يَتَدَبَّرُونَ الْقُرْآنَ. Have you not pondered, or do they not ponder on the Quran? أَمْ عَلَى قُلُوبٍ أَقْفَالُهَا. Or is there locks on the hearts? Has the hearts been locked up? So many of us will go through this journey of Quran. Some of us will be affected, some of us won't be affected, some will be affected on various degrees, and that's completely dependent on the state of the heart. And this is very, very important. The state of the heart determines how the Quran is going to affect us. Before we get into that, just some reminders as to the virtues of the journey that we have undertaken, alhamdulillah. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam says, as we know, khayrukum. وَمَا يَنْتِقُ عَنِ الْأَهْوَاءِ. Allah says that He doesn't speak of His own accord. This is not Rasulullah saying so because He wants to inspire, not saying so because He wants to inspire His Sahaba or those that are going to believe after Him. Rather, in huwa illa wahyun. It is divine revelation, it's divine inspiration, yuha, that has been inspired to Him. So He says, خَيْرُكُمْ, the best of you, مَنْ تَعَلَّمَ الْقُرْآنَ وَعَلَّمَهُ. The best of you that are those that are learning the Quran and teaching it to others. As you're sitting here, alhamdulillah, you fall into that category of the elite in the eyes of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. May Allah keep us in this beautiful, beautiful space where we're always learning Quran. Another hadith for those who intend on continuing this journey and continuing expanding their time, putting some more time in for the study of the Quran. Rasulullah says, and this is actually Hadith Qudsi, where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, Man shaghalahu al-Qur'ana wa dhikri. Whomsoever busies himself with the Qur'an, wa dhikri, and my remembrance. So he's so busy with remembering Allah, he's so busy with the Holy Qur'an. He obviously does what he needs to do, but in that extra time that he gets, he connects himself to the Qur'an. Or even whilst he's busy with his work or his job, whatever, he remembers Allah an mas'alati, such that he forgets to ask of me. So he's busy doing, and then he's with his Quran, and he's busy doing, and he's remembering Allah, such that he forgets to ask of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, أَعْطَيْتُهُ, I give this person, afdal, from the word fadl. Fadl means bounty. Afdal, sighatu tafdil, more virtue, more, even greater. I'll give this person greater than the one who is asking. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala loves that we ask. But in this particular state, that you're so busy with Quran, you're so busy with remembering Allah, you're so busy with the deen of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that you forget to ask of Allah, then He gives you better than those that are asking of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So maybe increase a little bit on our connection with the Quran, inshallah. And then beautifully Rasulullah says, Iqra'ul Quran, read the Quran, because فَإِنَّهُ, indeed it will come يوم القيامة, on the day of Qiyamah, shafi'an, as an intercessor, لأصحابه, for its companion. So the Quran will speak on the day of Qiyamah. The Quran will say, so and so sat with me, so and so read me, so and so implemented me, so and so spent their life, a life journey with me. So Ya Allah, I'm interceding today on behalf of this person. He must go to Jannah. And your Quran speaks like that for you on the day of Qiyamah. Your Quran says and testifies that you spent a journey with it. Subhanallah. May Quran testify for us. Ameen ya Rabbal Alameen. There's a beautiful quote from Quram Murad. Quram Murad, he writes the book The Way to the Quran. He writes many books, but The Way to Quran, very good, very recommended book to facilitate our journey of the study of the Quran. And there's a quote that I want to read to you quickly. So he says this is one of the states that one can reach in our connection with the Quran. He says, in reading the Quran, mind and body, reason and feeling lose their distinction. So you get lost in your reading of Quran. They become fused as the tongue recites and the words flow from the lips. The mind ponders, the heart reflects, the soul absorbs, tears well up in the eyes, the heart quakes and trembles, the skin shivers and softens, just as the heart does. There no longer remains any duality between the two. Even your hair may stand on end. And so he walks in the light of his Lord. Actually experiencing that. You know, when you connect to the Quran, you're so disconnected from everything that your hair is even standing because of the feeling that you're getting from this Quran. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala grant us that, you know. For those who have experienced it, you've experienced it. For those who have experienced it, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala grant us more such experiences. And for those who haven't, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala grant the experience. Just, you can sit and you're reading the Quran, you can just break. Start crying, because it's as if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is speaking directly to you. So again, the heart needs to be prepared to be able to achieve and receive this. So I spoke about unlocking the heart, and I'm going to give a few tips inshallah that we should try to apply this year, especially to have a better connection to the Quran. So number one is slow down. Slow down. What do I mean by slow down? When I say slow down, I mean that give Quran its haq, give Quran its time. Don't wait till Saturday night when you come home from your friend's house at 11 o'clock and oh yes, you know, I'm still supposed to prepare a section. Oh yes, we're rattling the scales tomorrow, let me go over it quickly. Or after Fajr on Sunday morning, oh yes, I still need to cram in so and so. No, give Quran a dedicated space of time in your life. Give Quran its haq. If you're going to give, for example, you're going to give a half an hour, then that half an hour must be you and the Quran and nothing else. Disconnect from everything and give the Quran that half an hour. That Quran deserves that time. Don't divide that time. If a bomb falls next to you, I'm not interested in that. This is my time with the Quran. You focus. So slow down. Give the Quran its haq. In relation to your preparation for Quran, taking wudu, even the wudu has an effect on your experience with the Quran. So, you know, sometimes we in a rush and we know how the wudu goes. I'm almost missing the waqt. So quickly I'm in the toilet, I take wudu, I forget to make my niyas, I forget to make my du'as, I'm just doing the far parts, because I need to quickly make the salah, and boom, bam, and there I did salah. No, 2020 is going to be a different year. When we make wudu, we're going to be focused in our wudu. We're going to make the intentions of wudu, and then whilst wiping the hands, we're going to ask, oh Allah, allow these hands to hold up the Quran. When we're washing our face, oh Allah, allow these eyes to see the nur of the Quran. May these eyes be illuminated with the Quran. When I'm wiping my head, oh Allah, allow the Quran to affect my mind. May I understand your words. Oh Allah, as I'm doing these limbs, may the limbs implement the Quran that I'm learning. Prepare yourself to receive the blessings of the word of Allah. When you arrive at class, sometimes we rush. Come to class, and you're in the car, settle, take a deep breath. Send salawat to Rasulullah, make your niyyah, intention, why am I here? And walk in, with dignity and honor. Why? I'm going to be busy with the book of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Number 2, verbalize your intention as to why you're here. Verbalize your intention to yourself, verbalize your intention to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Say to yourself, speak it until it becomes the reality. I'm here purely for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. I'm here to draw closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. I'm here to understand the words of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. I'm here to draw closer to Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Verbalize it. Speak to Allah about your intention. Renew your intention. Consistently connect to the intention that you made as to why you are here. Number 3, very importantly, be sincere in what you're doing. Be sincere. If you're here for any other reason than for the sake of Allah, then you're in the wrong place. Because Rasulullah says that minor shirk, you get major shirk, which is worshipping other than Allah, putting something on the same light as Allah. Minor shirk is doing things for riyah, doing things for show. So if you're here to do things for show, to show I know fa'ala, fa'alu, or I can quote qala and kila and so on and so forth, then it's best that you move away from the space, because the space is actually going to take you not to Jannah but somewhere else. Allah protect us from that. Number 4, approach the Quran with humility. Be humble in your approach with Quran. Come to the Quran as someone that doesn't know anything, that wants to learn. And then you're going to get. Then you're going to learn. Then the Quran is going to open up for you, and your heart is going to be ready for the Quran. Number 5, very importantly, purify the heart. Rasulullah says that the heart rusts like metal rusts. Every time you sin, every time you do something incorrect, then the heart gets blackened. If the heart is not cleansed from that rust, from that dirt, then it's blocked off from the nur of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We'll find that the 4 avenues to the heart is the eyes, the ears, the tongue, and the thoughts. The eyes, when it sees positive, it positively affects the heart. The eyes, when it sees negative, it looks at wrong, it looks at haram, it negatively affects the heart. When the ears are listening to good, we're listening to good nasiha, good discussions, Quran, anything that's good, it positively affects the heart. When you're listening to negatives, wrong, fitna, backbiting, ghiba, then it also affects the heart. And so very importantly, the company that we choose is important. You on a journey to Quran, you want to understand the Quran, you want your heart to be affected. But whenever you go to so and so, the only thing they can do is talk about others. So you come out there, your heart is black, your heart is sealed, and you don't know why. You don't know why. The company that we keep important. And then, last but not least, our actions. Whatever we do of good, it's going to affect our heart positively, and whatever we do of bad, it's going to affect our heart negatively. And so this is very, very important. I want to recite to you a verse before we start with Surah Yusuf. A verse that you've all heard before, many a times. But I just want to, as a means of application of some of the advices we gave, I want us to prepare to hear this verse. And just see how it affects us. Prepare ourselves very quickly to hear the verse, prepare our hearts, prepare our minds to hear and receive the word of Allah. And let's see how it affects us. So what I want us to do in preparation of this verse that I'm going to recite is I want you to just disconnect from everything. Disconnect from the world, disconnect from the stresses of life, disconnect from everything and reconnect your heart, your mind, yourself to Allah. Just connect to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This is your moment with your Creator. This is your moment with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And in this moment, we're going to start off begging Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for His forgiveness. We're going to ask Him to forgive us our shortcomings in the last month, in the last 2 months, festive season. We might have done things that were displeasing to you. And so we're going to beg of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to firstly forgive us for those shortcomings. Everyone's going to say Astaghfirullah 10 times. Sincerely from the heart, connecting to Allah, begging Allah to forgive you. 10 times Astaghfirullah. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala forgive our shortcomings if there's anything that we've done in the past few months. Ameen ya Rabbal Alameen. We're now going to say La ilaha illallah. Just 3 times. Picture the heart, picture the negatives being removed. Whatever's there's none worthy of worship, there's no false attachment, there's no false deity. Picture it being removed, picture it being uprooted. La ilaha, there's nothing there, no ilah, no false attachment, nothing illallah, except that Allah remains. 3 times, La ilaha illallah. We're now going to say, and picture the light of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala penetrating deeply into the heart now. Illallah. 3 times. Illallah. There's nothing. Illallah except Allah. And then lastly, we're going to mention Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's name and picture that whatever is there now is being removed. It's being polished, the heart being polished, the mind being polished, the soul being polished. Picture the whole body being illuminated with the light of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So say Allah, Allah 10 times. We're now going to send salawat and Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, and with the salawat we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to open our hearts to the Quran. Allahumma salli ala Sayyidina Muhammad wa ala ali Sayyidina Muhammad. Allahumma salli ala Sayyidina Muhammad wa ala ali Sayyidina Muhammad. Allahumma salli ala Sayyidina Muhammad wa ala ali Sayyidina Muhammad. Okay. So we've attempted to prepare our hearts, and we make dua that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala allows the words to affect our hearts. The verse that I want to mention is a verse that you've heard often before. And the verse is A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajeem. Bismillahir rahmanir rahim. Thumma, then awrathna al-kitab alladhina astafayna. Then awrathna, we grant as inheritance, we make heirs. Now an heir is someone that's very specific. You can't just become an heir. An heir is either via lineage. You are the son of so and so, so you are heir of that person. You have a rank by that person. You have a position. I can't just inherit from you. I've got a special connection to you. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says He has made certain people heirs. ثُمَّ أَوْرَثْنَا الْكِتَابَ, to this book. الَّذِي, those who istafayna, we have specifically handpicked and chosen. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says that I specifically handpicked and I specifically chosen those who are going to receive this book and receive guidance from this book. You're not sitting here by coincidence. You're not sitting here because, okay, I wanted to learn, Arabic and I want to learn Quran. Allah has inspired you. And now you've come forward. Allah has chosen you. And that's why you're sitting here. But then Allah puts us into 3 categories. One of 3 categories. فَمِنْهُمْ ظَالِمٌ لِنَفْسِهِ. So out of these people whom I've given inheritance, I've given them to be part and parcel of those who inherit the book I've specifically chosen. فَمِنْهُمْ ظَالِمٌ لِنَفْسِهِ. They are going to be those that wrong themselves. They're going to know, they're going to understand, they're going to know what's expected, but they're going to choose a different life. I don't want to live this life, I want to live a different life. وَمِنْهُمْ مُقْتَصِدٌ. And they're going to be those that's in between. Okay, some days I'm okay, and some days I'm not okay. Sometimes I'm off, some days I'm off. And the third category, وَمِنْهُمْ سَابِقٌ بِالْخَيْرَاتِ, they are going to be the forerunners in good. They are going to be the forerunners in good. Subhanallah. And the choice is ours as to what category we want to be in. We make dua that if we were of the first category in the past years through our journey of Quran, that Allah forgives us our shortcomings. And we make the niyyah to be of those who are going to be of the forerunners going forward, inshallah. To read the verse. ثم أورثنا الكتاب الذين اصطفينا من عبادنا فمنهم ظالم لنفسه ومنهم مقتصد ومنهم سابق بالخيرات. Brothers and sisters, the choice is ours as to what category we want to be in. May Allah grant us a good year ahead. Ameen. Ya Rabbal Alameen. So, a few tips as to how we can unlock the heart and take maximum benefit going forward, inshallah. Okay, khair. So, we're busy with Surah Yusuf. Surah Yusuf. What verse are we starting with? Sorry? 22. Okay. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. So, as we started out the surah, we remind ourselves that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says that this is ahsanul qasas. This is the most beautiful of stories that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala relates to us. The story is such that it gives us some insight and intimate details into the life of a family whose father is a prophet, whose sons go a little bit off the path, whose other son is going through difficulty and turmoil, a youngster being thrown in the well, and then being sold as a slave, and then taken into a home. And the lessons that we learn from this is many and beautiful. Just to go back to where we were, verse number 21 speaks about وَقَالَ الَّذِي اشْتَرَاهُ مِن مِصْرَ لِمْرَأَتِهِ. So the minister of Egypt purchases him, buys him from the slave market, and he says to his wife, أَكْرِمِي مَثْوَاي, ensure that he has a good stay, ensure that he is honored on his stay. عَسَىٰ أَن يَنْفَعَنَا, perhaps when he grows up, يَنْفَعَنَا, he will be of benefit to us. Perhaps he will benefit us. أَوْ نَتَّخِذَهُ وَلَدًا, or we'll just take him as a son. You know, if he doesn't bring us some type of greatness or fortune or whatever, at least he'll be a son to us. وَكَذَلِكَ, you didn't do 21, eh? You're starting at 22. Starting at 22. Okay. So I'm just revising the verse number 21 so that we know exactly where we are at in the story. وَكَذَلِكَ, and like that, مَكَّنَّا, we have established and we have placed لِيُوسُفَ فِي الْأَرْضِ, we have placed Yusuf in the earth. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has placed Yusuf in the land. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has placed Yusuf on the earth and established him in this way. So he went through turmoil, he went through difficulty, but now he's in the home of the minister. وَلِنُعَلِّمَهُ, and in order that we teach him مِن تَأْوِيلِ الْأَحَادِيثِ, the interpretation of ahadith, and ahadith over here is the interpretation of dreams. Ahadith means sayings and statements, but specifically it's the interpretation of dreams. Wallahu, and Allah is ghalibun, Allah is overpowering ala amrihi, regarding his matter. Meaning, no matter what they try, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has already destined for him what is going to happen. وَلَكِنَّ أَكْثَرَ النَّاسِ, but rather most of mankind, لَا يَعْلَمُونَ, they do not know this. What then happens is, Nabi Yusuf grows up in this home. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala explains what happens. وَلَمَّا, and when, بَلَغَ أَشُدَّهُ, he reached أَشُدَّهُ, his his state of strength. So he's strong, he's growing up, he's bigger. آتَيْنَاهُ, we have given him حُكْمًا وَعِلْمًا. حُكْمًا وَعِلْمًا. Hukman can be translated as both wisdom. Hukman can also be translated as jurisdiction. So as later he's been given a certain ability. But hukman, let's say hukman wa ilma, wisdom and knowledge. Now these two together are very, very important. These two are very, very important. A person can have all the knowledge, but he doesn't know how to implement and use that knowledge. He's not wise. You get other people again that have some wisdom, but they don't know the finer details of how to do it. So the two is very, very important. And dua for hikmah, dua for wisdom is something that we need to ask. We find that hikmah, the definition of hikmah is wad'u shay fi mahal, is putting something in its correct place, doing something at the prescribed time, doing something correctly, doing it at the right time. This is what hikmah is. So sometimes you have the wisdom. Very simple example, hadith where Rasulullah says, man ra'a minkum munkaran falyughayyirhu biyadi. Wherever of you see something wrong, you must change it with his hands. It's hadith. Yes. Hadith says, whoever sees something wrong, change it with his hands. And if he can't, then he must use his tongue. If he can't, then he must feel it in his heart. And that's the worst. But that's not the worst, the weakest form of iman. But now I hear this hadith in isolation of everything else, and I see someone doing something wrong. Now the only way I can stop him is by taking a baseball bat and beating him. That is not wisdom. That is not wisdom. Allah says in the Quran, Ud'u ila sabili rabbika bil hikmah. When you call towards Allah, when you want to do something, when you stop the person, do it with wisdom. وَمَوْعِظَةِ الْحَسَنَةِ, do it in the most beautiful way. So you have knowledge that I must do something, but the manner in which I do it requires hikmah, requires wisdom. Now Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave Nabi Yusuf both, and he was in this particular place in the palace, and he was given knowledge and he was given wisdom. وَكَذَلِكَ نَجْزِي الْمُحْسِنِينَ, and like that we reward al-muhsinin, the good doers. So getting knowledge and getting wisdom is a gift from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It is a reward from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. I started out my class reciting the verse that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala specifically chooses who is going to be part and parcel of this journey. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sees something in us that He has chosen us. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has believed it fit for us to be on this journey. Subhanallah. Then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, وَرَاوَدَتْهُ الَّتِي هُوَ فِي بَيْتِهَا. Here comes a very interesting part of this particular story. So what happens is he grows up, and it comes in hadith that Nabi Yusuf was given half of the world's beauty. Half of the world's beauty. If you've seen beauty, then multiply that by half of the dunya placed in Nabi Yusuf. He was like extremely handsome. The ladies are smiling here. He was the hadith says it was given half the world's beauty. So he was extremely handsome. So what happens is he grows up in this house, and the wife of the minister who bought him, she sees how handsome this guy is. She's mesmerized by him. She's obsessed with him. And she starts desiring him. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, وَرَاوَدَتْهُ الَّتِي, and then to seduce الَّتِي هُوَ فِي بَيْتِهَا. She starts and she intends to seduce the one who is in fi baytiha, in a house. Nabi Yusuf is in the house, and she starts to seduce him because she can't help herself anymore. She wants to be with him. She's being overpowered by her feeling inside. And she wants to go to him. عن نفسه, عن نفسه, on herself. وغلقت, and what she does is غلقت, whilst the two of them are in the room, غلقت, she locks غلقت الأبواب, all the doors in that room. So can you picture this whole scene? The two of them is in the room. He is in the house. He must be in the house. He's in and out. And here's the opportunity, she comes into the room, she sees him there. And now's my chance. She goes and she locks the one door, she knocks the other door, however much doors there are, she locks, because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, Al-Abawab, He doesn't say she locked the door in the palace. وَغَلَّقَتِ الْأَبَوَابِ, all the doors that are there, she locks. وَقَالَتْ, and she can't anymore, and she says to him, Hey Talak, come here, I want you. Come here, be mine. She says to him outright, come here, come to me, I want you, I want to be with you. And he then responds in shock and he says, قَالَ مَعَاذَ اللَّهِ, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala forbid this, or may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala protect us. This is not right. How can you do this? مَعَاذَ اللَّهِ إِنَّهُ رَبِّي. And he says, إِنَّهُ رَبِّي. The word Rabb over here, in back in the days, in the ancient times, Rabb means the one who takes care of me. So if you look even in the dictionary, Rabb has like 6, 7, 8, almost 10 different meanings. So they would, if it's your landlord in Arabic is Rabbul Bayt, the lord of the house, the landlord. Okay. So he says, indeed, Rabbi, meaning the minister that purchased him, Inna Rabbi ahsana mathwai. He has done good, ahsan mathwai, in terms of my stay. He was excellent to me in terms of my stay. So you coming to me now, I can't respond to you because the minister of the house that took me in, he's been good to me. How can I, go against him, you his wife? Innahu, indeed, la yuflihu, indeed, la yuflihu, is not successful, al-zalimun, the wrongdoers. The next part is very interesting, but my time is up and Maulana Khalil is sitting in the class already. So next week we will continue as to what exactly happens between Nabi Yusuf and Zulaykha. Jazakallah khair wa akhir da'wana alhamdulillahi rabbil alamin.